takes up Rey Mysterio on Wednesday night, SmackDown versus Raw.
All right.
We start now.
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, I was getting out of character.
It's rolling.
I was
I'm
totally
gonna keep that in now. Like we're gonna
The preview.
I don't know about that. Well, so we're starting right now.
Yep. Ready whenever you are.
Okay.
So this is Logan.
This is Owen.
This is another episode of Cornbread Confessions. We've got a special guest, Owen, if you want to introduce who we have today.
Yeah, today we have not just a nurse, but this is a UAB nurse. Now this is top of the line, genuine type of a nurse here. She has seen it all, and she's got a lot of stories here to tell us. And this is going to be a really exciting episode. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Natalie. I'm Owen's fiance, and I obviously work at UAB as a nurse.
And how long you been working there?
I started in September of 22, so approaching 3 years.
Okay, well, that's it's been 3 years. So,
Please say, what was it like? What was it like starting out? Like,
It was very nerve-wracking because I graduated college and then started immediately in the ICU, which you learn everything almost once you start
ICU?
working. Well, not just in
general?
ICU, but just in general when you start working.
yeah.
And so I was like having to learn everything, I felt like. And so I was just like the little baby nurse trying to figure life out. And like the ICU is a serious place too. So you got a lot of lives on your hands. So
Yeah. Did you have anything that stuck out that first day but made you go, whoa, like,
honestly,
this is legit now? Or?
can't even remember what my first day was like.
Oh,
You
really?
know?
Because it's all a blur. Like,
It is all a blur.
I can imagine.
And I also started out on night shift too, which was just not my thing, but I did it because I had to.
you work your way up to the top.
You gotta work your way up, yeah. Unless you're lucky, and I wasn't lucky.
Yeah, well, you know.
So, like, how many hours did you have to start out at, just starting out?
It's 3 12-hour shifts a week.
Okay.
And then, like, when you first start for the first year, you have all these classes and, like tests you
and
have
stuff?
to take. Yeah, basically.
Really? I didn't know
And
that.
so it's like you have to do your 3-hour or 3-day shifts and then all of that on top of it.
Dang.
But when you start, you have to like kind of work it around it because you can't go over 40 hours.
Oh, weird. So they cap you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like you do your 3 days a week and then the extra 4 hours you're like doing classes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Dang. So, like, that's the thing is, like, the college is what's rough for nurses to go. I always hear and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, nursing school is not fun.
Yeah.
How many years of college did you have to take for you to get to where you was being able to be a nurse?
So I did the 2 years undergrad at Sneed State, and then I did 5 semesters of nursing school. So it's like 2.5 years.
So did you have to take, like, does every nurse have to go to college for about 4.5 years to be a nurse, like, roughly?
Well, you don't have to because you can do like your 2-year like associate's degree and still be a nurse. But it would take you about the same amount of time.
But, like, you going for that long a time, do you think that's where it landed you the job at UAB?
No, because I know people that did the associate's degree that still work at like a well-known hospital and stuff.
Okay, so I guess it just depends on who you know. That's pretty cool, I guess. It's just kind of every other job, you know. You can go to college for, anything and get out, and somebody that you know say, hey, I'll hire you to do this and pay you enough, and it don't even have anything to do with
Did
what
a
you went to
lot of
college
people do
for.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
like
know.
they get out in the real world and like they don't go in what their college degree was, you know. Like I guess nursing. Would you say nursing is one of those like where okay you need to have college, or do you think that you learn nothing in college? Like you really learn on the job?
No,
or
you
what?
learn everything in college, but it's just so like jam packed and fast paced that you don't really absorb a lot of it. But once you like do it repetitively every single day,
Then you're used
then you're like, okay, that's what it is.
All right, let me ask you a question right here. If you had to rate Snead State going to college there for nursing exactly, like specifically nursing, versus JSU, like I know that's a 2-year, you know, I know you had to do that to go to a 4-year college, but do you think that Snead State prepared you enough, or do you think like it was very necessary for you to go to JSU?
So like I said, I just went to Snead for my undergrad, which is
Okay.
just like math, history, science, all those things.
Okay.
But when I was getting ready to transfer, I just looked at it as like I was still going to have to do 2.5 years of nursing school.
Okay.
But the difference was Snead State was an associate's degree,
Okay.
where JSU was a bachelor's degree.
Okay. So Snead State doesn't have a nursing school.
They do.
Oh, they do.
But it's
you
just
didn't.
it's just a 2-year degree.
Okay.
So you're going to get paid at your job for a 2-year degree instead of a 4-year degree.
What's the pay difference like that look like? Do you know?
I have no clue.
It's interesting.
Probably not much, just like a couple dollars maybe.
Yeah. Well, since you started out at a bigger hospital like UAB, I mean that is the hospital to go to in the state of Alabama. I mean that's kind of a big deal, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to start off doing is a bigger hospital, just because, and UAB is like the teaching hospital and all of that, so you just like are constantly learning stuff. I felt like that was the best place to start in nursing,
Okay.
just so I can like see it all, learn it all those things. Yeah.
Do they float you around in like different units? So like you start out in ICU, but then they start to kind of like float you around, or how does that work?
So like I work on CPCC, and that's my home unit. If we get to a point where like staffing is good, and like we might go like to different ICUs in the cardiac area, but we wouldn't ever go to like labor and delivery
Oh,
or
really?
anything like that. We'd
So
stay
somewhat
in ours.
specialized.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be like
I didn't know
under the
that.
cardiac division.
But it's all, is it all still part of the ER or no?
ER is just a totally different world.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I was wondering that.
Uh-huh.
It's like a city over there in the hospital. Like it's kind of crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm curious about is like just how that's normally set up. You know, like I think most people layman's just gonna know the ER and then like they've heard of the ICU and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
they don't
it's
know.
like in nursing school, it's like you have your ER, ICU, like labor and delivery.
Okay.
That's like your
That's your main
ones that you go into nursing school like looking for. But then
Okay.
in the hospital, there's like different types of ICU, or there's the step downs like med surge and stuff like that, or there's ER, there's the baby world and stuff like that, or there's like on-call. There's like so many different like levels to it, and like
Yeah.
specialties and stuff like that.
So like
So-
in college, did you have to kind of pick what route of nurse you wanted to go in college, or did you just kind of learn everything that you could learn about nursing in college? Then after you got out, you kind of picked what direction you wanted to go in specifics of what kind of nurse you wanted to be.
So like for nursing school, you have to do everything. You have to learn everything.
Okay.
But then when it gets to your 5th semester, that's when you do your precepting. And so that's where they want you to kind of like be narrowing down like the specialty. So I wanted to do the labor and delivery, mother, baby, pregnancy stuff. And then that's what I did. I did high risk OB So they're still pregnant, but they have like diabetes, high blood pressure. They are having twins, all of those things. And that's what I did for my 5th semester because that's what I wanted to do. And then I got out and got a job in cardiopulmonary critical care. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I mean, everything happens for a reason, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely, especially like with nurses, because that's definitely that's a serving job, where like you it's very important.
It's a critical job.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely some kind of reason if you haven't maybe ran into it yet, but there's a reason why you got put in that area. And so I mean, you might have just been better at it and didn't realize it, or I don't know, something like that. Like, is there what do you think about as far as like a first responder goes? Like, do you think nurses are first responders, or like what do you? Because I know a lot of people, they're just like police, firefighters, and ambulances. Yeah, like, so you're not technically a ambulance. What is that? What is
Paramedic.
a paramedic? You're not technically a paramedic, but like, would you say that you're still would be considered a first responder?
Technically not a first responder
Be like the
because
second or third.
we're definitely the second
Second,
responder.
yeah.
And but I do think we need to be included in that category
Yeah,
because like, yes, the fire department or the paramedics and stuff will get you to the hospital,
Yeah.
but then we have to take care
Right,
of you.
right.
So
Well, you're
we're gonna be the ones
definitely-
keeping you alive.
Yeah, no doubt. You're definitely one of the things I like to look at, especially like with my job, or I'm sure you can relate to it. Just being able to feel like you're really putting your stitch in the American flag. You know what I mean? Like you're definitely playing a big role. And that's awesome. So, do you think that maybe people don't realize how big of a job being a nurse actually is?
Probably.
Like,
I mean,
when people get out of college and they go into it, is there some people that they just can't handle it,
yeah, a lot of people, and we've seen it on our unit, they start in the ICU and stuff like that, but then it's either they just don't like it at all. It's not like what they wanted or thought that they wanted, or it's just too like stressful, too much of a fast pace thing for them. So it kind of like burns them out. But yeah, I really don't think that people kind of know the severity of it.
Yeah.
I wonder what's more of the pain is dealing with like staff, paramedics, like the people like helping, or is it more dealing with like the patients? Like, honestly, what's more of the work?
So it depends, and I'm just speaking from an IC standpoint. It depends on the patient.
Really?
Because
Sometimes you get really good patients.
yeah,
and then,
some of them they're sweethearts and stuff like that, and then some of them you're like, when's 12 hours up?
really, yeah.
Because it depends on who you got.
Do you ever get attached to any of the patients that you have, and like how does that affect you going home every day? Leaving them, not really knowing if you're gonna, because of the line of work, specifically ICU. I'm assuming whenever you leave, and the next shift comes in, you may not. They may not be there whenever you go back to work, So like, how do you respond to something like that?
So when, like, we deal with ECMO patients, we deal with transplant patients, we deal with people that are just sick from like heart problems.
Yeah.
So ECMO is supposed to be a short-term thing to kind of like heal your body, get you better. Sometimes it's not. And we've had people from like 18 years old to like 90 on our unit.
Is it harder seeing a young person in there?
Yes, because the young ones that we've seen, like they've never really gotten a chance to just do their life.
Yeah.
You know?
That's really sad, you know. Do you think that they was prepared for what was coming?
They probably didn't expect that to be their way out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't wish that way for anybody. But like if they were like ready, I guess, like after a certain point you can kind of tell like the ones that are, they're just tired.
Yeah.
You know, they're just done.
I got you. That's really cool. So like getting back on like how do you respond to like you getting attached to people? Yeah, like
so that's where I lost track. But like the younger ones and stuff like that, they're so sweet.
yeah.
You know? And when they're in there for like months on end, then yeah, you get attached to them. You know their families, you know their stories, all of that stuff. And when they don't make it, you know, it really hurts.
Yeah.
Because you know everything about them, basically. Whereas like the ones that are in there for just like a week or so, then you don't really get that connection with them. But
Just kinda doing your job at that point.
we've had so many people that are up there for months and months and months, like not make it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
those are the ones that are like you really get attached to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really kind of hits you
I was
different.
fixing to say, have you ever had one that like weighed on you so much that like you feel it like weeks down the road or like days down the road, or
There's some that I still think about.
really?
Like I'll have the patient that was in her room, you know, or his room and stuff, and I'm like, well, I used to do this for him and stuff like that, or like she would tell me these stories and stuff, and it's like, but they're way gone,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Well, I mean, like, it seems like you really care. I mean, I really feel like a lot of people that are nurses, maybe, you know,
Have to
do
be
you
paid to
see it?
care.
Yeah. Like,
Almost
yeah. Do you see it firsthand? I guess, like with the nurses that actually care and the nurses that just are there for a job. Like, I mean, I guess you can really see the difference in their work ethic and there at UAB, you know.
Yeah. For sure, like the longer I feel like you stay in a job, the more you get like immune to it, to where like nothing really affects you. Like when you stop, someone told me this the other day, I think it was a patient's family, but when you stop caring, you just need to go on to something else. Because like your work ethic isn't great. Like the care for the patient that you're taking care of is just like whatever you can do to get done and get out of there. You know, instead of like that's the worst time of their lives, is being stuck in a bed and they can't get out of it. You know, and the family's worst time of their lives because they're having to put their lives on hold to be up there with their family member.
Wow.
You know, and some of them don't even have family call or come up there and see them. They just are up there by themselves.
Wow. That's wild.
I was fixing to say, you imagine. I wonder if you had to deal with some of them like that, like on holidays and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like
we try to make
crazy.
We try to make the holidays and stuff as good as we can.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
Well, I hope I never have to go to UAB, but I definitely would request you because it does seem like you care just a little bit.
I'll make sure you're
special
nice
request.
and
Yeah. What's something that that you maybe give me like a story or something of maybe
like
your
sticks out in your head.
yeah,
you
just
know?
sticks out about
like
know
that
what
you'll just
you've
never
done.
forget kind of thing.
whether it be good, bad, funny. I mean,
And you don't have to name names if you
Yeah.
can. I mean, like we know there's like HIPAA laws and stuff, you
Yeah.
know, when you're
Yeah,
trying to get you in trouble.
So, well,
Just call him Steve. It's a guy.
yeah, Steve.
well, we've definitely had funny moments and stuff.
So there is
But
funny
it's-
times
Oh,
that happen in the
really?
Yes,
hospital.
obviously.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
It's not all doom and gloom and stuff like
Okay,
that.
see, I'm just picturing like Law and Order type, like you know, and I'm just like, man,
Yeah, I think there's
dude.
like break room stories here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
There's gonna
yes.
be more.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
That stuff is like behind closed doors.
yeah, nobody,
It
nobody,
all
really
makes
talks,
a break through. But
nobody really talks about that.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of our funny stories, as nasty as it sounds,
All right, I'm gonna cut you off right there. We're
That's
we're
it,
done,
guys.
We're done talking about that.
Appreciate y'all.
it revolves around body fluids.
Okay,
And
that's
that's it.
good enough. That's good enough. I don't think we all want to really
We
hear
all just
that.
get put in awkward positions, and you just got to go with it. Honestly, half the time people leave. Half the time people leave in different scrubs than they came in wearing, and just you just got to go with it.
Man, I had a buddy one time that was working on a tractor, and he had a hydraulic line bust on him, and he went home. He couldn't handle it.
He's like, nope.
I couldn't imagine him being a nurse. You ever had somebody just really just get it on them and just go home because they got so mad?
I don't think anybody's went home.
Because they are okay.
No, they probably wanted.
So
to.
like people definitely bring a change of clothes with them to work every day.
Yeah, I've got a
Never
pair of
seen that.
scrubs in my locker. And if you don't have a pair of scrubs, then like the OR scrubs
Yeah.
that they wear, always on.
Yeah.
them.
Well, I mean, I guess you kind of know what you're getting into whenever you go to work every day. There's no telling.
It's a dirty job.
It's a
if you think
dirty
about
job.
it.
Yeah,
Like, that's
it's-
the
Yeah.
crazy thing.
Dirty job.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's that? That was a TV show, Dirty Job.
Dirty
He,
Jobs.
I don't
yeah.
think he's ever
Yeah.
done
Micros,
nursing. has
Dirty
he?
Jobs,
He might have
dude.
done nursing before.
I don't know.
Oh,
It's
who
usually
knows?
outside
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Man.
Still, though. I'll be honest, that's a job I couldn't do. I couldn't handle it.
It takes
Like,
a special person.
you have to
do it.
really care and want to do that kind of stuff.
Do
You
you
got to have a
think-
heart to do it.
How far up into the totem pole are you thinking you want to try to go in? Maybe not even just UAB, but just in the hospital standpoint. Do you think you may want to go back to college and try to move up the ladder that way? Like maybe get a doctor's degree or anything?
No.
No.
Nope. I'm on monkey.
Why is that? Is it
Circus.
too much responsibility or anything like that?
It
Or like
is.
what's the reason behind
High
that?
stress.
It is a lot more responsibility, as well as it is a lot more schooling. And after nursing school, I'm just like, I'm not a school person no more.
Yeah.
I used to be, but I'm just,
Just burnt out, huh?
I don't blame you.
I cannot go back to school because people that do go back to school, they also work too, and most of them have like kids and family and stuff. And I'm like, praise you, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
That would be way too much stress, and
Yeah. It's a lot.
I'm stressed enough as it is.
Yeah.
Fix it, like, how many hours are you putting in now? Like, is
So like for a day working, get up at 4 to 4:30. Don't get home until like 8:30. So total, it's like a 16-hour day.
Wow.
And 2 hours of it is just driving, going to and from.
Well, that's something you could
have a 2-hour
you could work
commute?
on though. I mean,
Wow.
Well, just 1 hour and then
Oh,
1 hour
okay,
back.
okay. I was fixing to say.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But
Gracious.
well, yeah, you can't count the drive though. I mean, you could live
can.
you could live closer if you wanted to.
not anymore. I could get a job closer.
Yeah, you could get a job. So like, do you think that maybe after you put, I don't know, let's say X amount of years in at that big of a hospital, do you think you may try to go to like a urgent care or something like that?
It's possible. It depends on like life scenarios and stuff like that. Down
Fair
the road,
enough.
but
That's fair enough.
I don't see myself staying unless I don't know. I don't see myself driving an hour to work.
Yeah. Well,
For-
I guess what I'm asking really is like, what have you seen people usually do that goes into the nursing field? Like whenever they have been in there and you know they've put in a lot of time.
And like the big hospital, the
Yeah,
big
like
hospital
what?
scene. Like,
Whenever they leave, let's say a nurse that you've seen maybe put in 20 years at UAB. What do they usually do? Like, do they say, okay, like I just cannot. I'm a veteran here. Like I've gotta get out of this UAB because it's just too much.
No.
What usually happens?
I feel like at a big hospital or just nursing period, there's so many things that you can get into
Yeah.
if you're tired of something else.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that I've talked to that are like the older nurses and stuff like that, they started out doing something and then a couple years later they did travel nursing and then they were tired of doing that and they came back and stayed in so for years. It's just like nursing specialty is just so big that you can just move around.
Yeah, I got you.
And at UAB you can do it all there
Yeah.
if you wanted to.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of people go to smaller hospitals. A lot of people go to like something completely different.
Hey, well, that's cool. I didn't know how people did it up there. I mean, that's neat. What kind of where do you go buy your scrubs at?
2 of mine came from Walmart. So.
All right, we got a Natalie Morton's promo code for Walmart.
Cornbread Confessions promo.
Cornbread code. Yeah, shout out to Walmart for supplying all the scrubs to our nurses here in the great state of Alabama. Big shout out to Walmart.
I definitely don't wear the name brand scrubs like.
No, because you will get pooped on, and you do not want to have them $high scrubs.
Right, mine were like $20.
I was fixing to say, do you think, are there some girls that come in there, like, you can tell they're new? Like, can you tell within seconds of looking at them, like, oh, yeah.
You can tell that either one, that they're new, like fresh out of college or whatever, or you can tell that they're just like.
They don't know what they're doing.
Well, no, they're like. My word would be like uppity. Like highfalutin.
Oh, really? They're like, oh, yeah, I have like $100 scrubs.
$100 scrubs,
like,
whatever. I'll just go buy some new ones.
Go buy another one like it's
Yeah,
plastic.
or like
Some people's got it like that.
some people do. Or they'll wear like full face of makeup, have their hair curled and stuff. I'm like, I'm doing good to just get there in the mornings. I look rough.
We ain't shooting shots at people now. We're gonna get off this topic.
At 4:30 in the morning.
Somebody you know is gonna get their feelings hurt.
No, it's okay. If you have time to get up and do that, I would do it. I can't.
Well, fair enough.
I would like to look a little better.
Well, what do you think in your life made you want to be a nurse? Like what made
was
you
the
want
moment?
to?
Yeah.
Like what made you
Where you're like,
want
all right,
to?
that's where I want to go.
Or like how young was you whenever you was like kind of figuring out what you want to do with your life, and you're like, I think I want to be a nurse, because that's like that's a calling, I mean that's not even like
Your defining moment.
yeah, that's not something you just do. Like you get called to do that. Like that's that kind of a job,
Yeah, I feel like when I was like young, and I would remember like telling mom and stuff, I want to be a traveling nurse and tell people about Jesus.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Cool.
And I was young too, like not even knowing what I actually wanted to do. So I feel like I don't have the traveling part, but I feel like
well, you still got to tell people about Jesus.
Yeah, and no,
even though you ain't traveling,
right? And no, I feel like I get to in that specialty.
Yeah.
A lot more if I would have just done something else.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, this is kind of a dark way to think, but I mean, some moments, I'm sure that happens there. You may be the last person that people see before they go
It's
under.
the best timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're really, you know, have you ever been there and been able to tell people about the Lord, you know, before they went under? Like, have you ever like
Not like
done that?
Not like last thing type thing, but I have been able to do that. And a lot of the patients up there, they're not cognizant.
Yeah.
Like, so they don't know, but I guess it makes me feel better even if I just pray over them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't know that I'm doing that. But it just
doing the
makes
Lord's
me
work.
feel better.
I've heard of stories. Now I don't know if this is true. You know, I've obviously not ever been there to experience it, but I have heard stories where people would be in like the hospital bed, and either if this is true, then there's a reason why it wouldn't happen to some people. But I have heard of people being on their deathbed and like their feet getting hot and stuff like that. Like they're about to get under, and like they're like it's not going well. You know what I mean? Like you can tell that they
Like
don't.
where some people see the light.
Yeah,
And stuff.
yeah. Have you ever had any kind of experiences like that?
So yes, I have had moments like that, or people tell me about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Because like also why I am on the unit that I am is because during during nursing school, it would have been third semester. My dad got sick with COVID, and it put him in the hospital, and he ended up having to go to UAB, put on like all the machines, ECMO, ventilator, dialysis, not looking good, on the unit that I work at. And so this ain't really my story to tell, it's his, but I'm going to tell it anyways because we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. But he got to a point where it was like not looking good at all. And after like he got out and all of that stuff and was like comfortable telling us things that he remembers and stuff, he said that there was like a time, and he had gotten to like this beautiful scenery, mountains, rivers, all the things, and there was like a bridge in front of him, and his uncle had come up like beside him, and they were about to walk over the bridge together, and his uncle turns around and says, "No, it's not your time to like you've got more life," and stuff like that, and he proceeds to walk across the bridge. And at that time in our lives, his uncle was actually sick and had passed away, and then Dad immediately starts getting better, comes off all the machines, and like survives. So that's like a personal story of that aspect for me. But then I've also had other patients and stuff say like that they've seen that, like the beautiful scenery, like, and then just start getting better, you know? So yeah, that definitely, I haven't ever seen like the flip side of it, been told that, but I'm sure that happens too. So
yeah, well, I'm not sure that well, I mean, actually, I've heard of people coming back from the bad side and changing their life around. You know, you've heard stories about that.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure some people probably definitely don't want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of something scary. But I've
heard stories too of like atheists and stuff like that, and like on their deathbed, like they've been staunch like all their life. But then on their deathbed, like some of the quotes that you hear, like their last quotes and stuff, and it's like, no, take me back. Like you hear stuff like that.
Wow.
like really weird stuff. I mean, it's, you know, you could go look all this stuff up.
All this
research
stuff's
stuff,
just
but,
so
like,
fascinating, though. I mean,
interesting when you read like what people are actually saying on their deathbed. It's crazy.
it's all just so fascinating. Like, because there's only been a handful of people that has actually been able to go into the afterlife and come back. And then even then, it's so. I'm not gonna use the word skeptical because it is a real thing, but it's just like it just sounds so much like a dream. It's just so hard to believe if that was actually what happened or not, you know?
Well, see, Dad, like, while he was still in the hospital, he kept asking us about his uncle.
And see, that's the kind of stuff that's
we were scared
crazy.
to tell him because we didn't want to, like, mess anything
You're right,
up and
yeah.
stuff like that. So we were like, why is he asking about it?
Right,
We haven't brought him up. We haven't mentioned him. And then after all is said and done, he tells us why he was asking about it.
Yeah. And see,
And-
that's crazy. Like, that right there is what really seals the deal to that story right there.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, you're in the hospital, you know, with your own problems, you know, and, you know, I don't know what his relationship is with his uncle, but I mean,
They were probably closer than any of his other uncles and aunts and stuff.
I mean, that's,
so.
yeah. So, I mean, that's cool, but like, I don't, for him to be in the hospital and having his own problems and stuff going on, like, I doubt that his uncle was probably the one that was on his mind, you know, and if he had been in there for the length of time that he was in there, he wouldn't ever even known that his uncle was
Right.
sick, right?
Because, I mean, we had known that, like, he had heart problems and he had to have a pacemaker in and stuff like that. And that was, like, starting to go bad and all. And so, like, we knew he was sick. But after Dad was in the hospital, he got put in the hospital. So, or like an assisted, some type of thing.
Yeah.
So, like, no, Dad wouldn't have been wondering if his uncle was doing okay.
And so that's just what's so awesome and crazy and everything about the story, because it's just like, from what I've heard, it's just like, wow, you know, that's
No,
amazing.
That time in, like, my whole family's life, it was just like, if you weren't right or whatever, you were getting right, because that's just like so hard to.
Can't dispute that.
Yeah, it's
you
like
can't make that stuff
that's
up.
nothing but God.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's the only way that he's still here is that.
Yeah, that's so incredible. Wow. Do you have anything that heard of any kind of moments like that in any people that you know, Logan?
I'm trying to think. I'll never forget seeing, like, my grandfather. This was close to when he was about to pass away. It was our granddaddy. Like, we came in the room and sang, like, Amazing Grace, just, you know, some simple hymns and stuff. And, like, I'd almost tear up sitting here thinking about it. Like, that was one of those where you just kind of knew. And he couldn't even, like, breathe hardly and stuff, but he was able to, like, raise his hand and stuff. Like, just stuff like that, you know,
Wow.
you can't take that back. Like, there's a different energy in the
Yeah,
room. It's
absolutely.
like, that's one thing that, like, I don't think people realize, or like AI and all this kind of stuff. Like, you can't replicate true human connection. I think there's something way deeper going on than what you know we try to think that we're figuring out in the world. You know, and so that's what's amazing to me is when you get moments like that as a human being. You can't
Well,
replace
it's
that.
magical. I mean,
Yeah,
it really
you
is.
can't
No,
describe
I don't
it.
even-
It don't matter, you know, how brilliant you are. Like, you can't describe it. Just it's a different feeling, truly.
Yeah. Well, and it's also something that, like, you know, you got all these religions and stuff, and I don't know about you, but I've heard of just so many different just religions and people's way of thinking and stuff, and it all the time is changing. To just having to kind of adapt and a change and everything to fit the world where like
Jesus is very counterculture.
yeah, we're like there's it's written, it's in, you know, there's the Bible, it's written down, and as far as Christianity, the religion, you know, there's nothing about that has changed over the years of how long it was, forever, you know. That's the longest religion that, because I mean it's been around since day one, you know what I'm saying.
There's more manuscripts of it than
Yeah.
any other book in the entire world. There's more like historical reference to it than any book in the entire world. It's the best-selling book in the world.
Yeah, and there's no any kind of other magic. I want to say magical because it's, you know, it's really hard to describe.
It's amazing how timeless. It's just
Yeah,
it's simply timeless.
Yeah, just everything you hear, man. You don't ever hear about anything like that happening in any other religion. You know, nothing.
I think a lot of people would claim that there are. It's some that might be watching, they're like, no, I don't agree with that. But
Yeah.
I think the reality is just if you haven't been there and haven't seen that perspective, you would never, would never know, you know? So it's just sad, but it's kind of the truth, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome. Oh, well, let's get back on the nursing. We kind of got off topic a little bit, but hey, it's
Off
okay.
topic, but we got it on the topic.
It's okay. Yeah, well, rabbit hole. I mean, it's
Yeah,
we went down a rabbit hole. You know, but that's okay though, because you know some of the rabbit holes that we go down, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and it always leads up.
To nurse, you know?
Yeah, you know, it always leads up into something. You know, but having a nurse like Natalie here, and like I obviously know her on a different level than I do other nurses, or I would other nurses. But like just being able to, like her being able to really care about her job and the people that she's actually taking care of, you know, I don't think you can put a price on. Like that's the ideal nurse to me. If that was gonna have anybody take care of me, you know, I would love if it was somebody that was gonna take care of me that actually wanted to be there and wasn't just there for a paycheck or something like that. You know what I mean? So I mean, you do a really good job. I'm gonna give you a high five. I mean, that's really, yeah, which we don't see you in action, you know, but, you know.
And I hope to never see anybody that I know.
You got a really good talk, though, you know. You sell it real good.
Thank you.
I'd hire you if I was
you.
a hospital.
Hey, look at there. Owen's going to become the director of UAB Hospital before it's over with, so.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you know.
I see it right now.
That's cool.
Anything's
That's cool.
possible. I'd hate to be the doctor though, or something going in there. 'Cause I don't even know how I would be able to gently tell somebody that it ain't looking good, you know, because I just go up in there.
They train you on that,
part-
right?
No, not really.
No?
It's just
I thought they did.
It's like a learned behavior.
I've heard that doctors that have went through, so I guess some schools do it, and they say that they try to like do it in like stages. So they'll kind of come up and they'll be like, "I'm about to tell you bad news." They'll say something like that to like get you to brace, because if you just all of a sudden just cold turkey say it, it like shocks them.
They might teach like the doctors or like people that go farther
Yeah.
along in school how to break news like that. But like as
Nurses,
from a
they
nurse,
just make you just.
we try to not say like specifics because we aren't the doctor and stuff like that. But from a nursing standpoint, you're taking care of that patient for 12 hours, sometimes 3 days in a row, you know? So you kind of know trends, you know how it's looking, you know if they're going like worse or better and stuff like that. So you try to keep it as general as possible. Because you don't ever want to say like, well, it looks like they're not doing good, they are going to die.
Yeah.
And then the doctors come in there and say, well, the numbers are looking good and stuff like that. Because then they immediately look at you and, well, you said. And so you don't ever want to like put yourself in a corner. But it's always better to be honest with families and stuff like that than to try to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the family members will like straight up ask you, like, I don't want to put you in a bind or anything, but like I need to know, you know? So it's like, well, from my standpoint, it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
You know? And
just trying to be as honest as you can.
Take it as you will, but, you know, yeah.
So that's what's got to be hard. It just, like...
Because you don't ever know how to start that conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
Because they're trying to plan, like, completely different things in their mind, like trying to brace for a different kind of emotional impact.
Yeah, because a lot of the times it's not an expected hospital visit. Like, ours wasn't expected.
I wonder, though, too, that, like, if somebody that's... Like, if you were to tell them that something's going wrong and stuff like that, like, I wonder if you're maybe a little more apprehensive about that, too, because, like, a lot of it's, like, a mental thing, you know? Sometimes they'll want to pull through, and, like, that actually... Because it's almost... It's really weird. I've heard stories of people saying that, like, your mind controls more of that than you think. So if your mentality going into it is, I'm going to die, then you probably will. But then it's really weird. It's like your body, your biology all kind of meshes there to...
So a lot of our transplants, we deal more with lung transplants, heart transplants, but they are so anxious.
Really?
Pre and post transplant. And you literally have to like get on their level and be like, you've got to do it. Like, I know you're anxious, you just got to do it. Or they won't. They'll just lay in the bed and stuff. Like, you got to get up, you got to walk, you got to eat, you got to do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt,
but you got to
keep
do pushing.
It. And I've seen some that actually push through and make themselves, and I've seen some that just refuse and they don't do good.
So I didn't even think, you mentioned like organs, transplant, stuff like that. Is it worth it? Is it good to be an organ donor? Yes or no? Like, do you think, what is your honest, this is why I'm asking you, because like, I'm telling you. Like,
yeah. So like my standpoint on it is, I don't, like, after I'm dead, my organs don't matter, you know? But if that can help someone else prolong their life, you know, why not?
I've just heard stories of like, oh, like you'll hear it online, but I think a lot of people dispelled it like, oh, well, he's an organ donor, so we need to kill him off faster to get his organs.
No,
you don't think that kind of thing happens?
That doesn't happen. It's just coincidental, you know?
Okay.
And a lot of times...
So you've never seen anything like that?
No, a lot of times the organ donors, like, they'll get it. Like, they'll say, go and get the lungs, and then by the time they can get back to the hospital, something's wrong with them.
Really?
You know, so it's just a big question mark, but it is trying to prolong someone's life. So...
Yeah. Just kind of doing what you can.
Yeah. And being in the hospital, it's different.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing it and stuff like that is just a personal thing if you rather do it or not. But
yeah.
Well, Natalie, we do appreciate you coming out here and giving us a bunch of nursing experience and tales and all that good stuff. And I think this is a really good podcast. I feel like episode anyway. I feel like somebody may definitely be able to get some kind of information, like useful information out of this. And maybe if you're thinking about being a nurse and you listen to this, you know, maybe it may help you or you know, help you decide if you want to be a nurse or not. Because I mean, I know a lot of times you may be wanting to be a nurse and you don't know anybody that's a nurse and you don't really know where to ask and see if that's really something that you might want to do. So I think this is really cool to be able to know and have somebody that that is that, and we thank you, and we really appreciate what you do for just America. I mean,
For the
truly,
United States of America.
Yeah. I mean, seriously though,
Honestly,
there's no telling who comes in.
We've had people from all over.
Really? Wow.
come in.
Yeah, so-
Just because UAB is such a big name, like people
Dang.
from other states
Yeah,
will come.
yeah. Man, there's a lot more questions that I'd love to ask. We're
Yeah.
running out of time.
We're
Maybe a
on-
part 2.
Maybe have to have a part 2 for sure. Maybe have a little bit more time, but we thank y'all for watching. This is Cornbread Confession. I'm Owen,
This is Logan.
and this is your Cornbread Confession.